Stoten from EMSNow. I'm here at SMTA in Texas, and I'm joined by Will Christ from Apex FA.
Apex Factory Automation, that's
Good
correct.
to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Start just by reminding our viewers what your package is, you're offering, because it's a number of different elements that come together.
That's correct. We have a full capital line turnkey approach. We offer Murray pick and place, the SJ Initech stencil screen printer, and the reflow oven from TMS.
Okay, and are you finding that a lot of people are looking for those kind of joined together solutions?
Yeah, most of our clients are small to medium contract manufacturers. A lot of them bought in originally either very small manufacturing or used equipment.
Okay.
And so now they're trending up in business and they're looking for kind of the next level of capability, reliability, and product support. Okay. So that's the bulk of our customers.
And would you say that that's where a lot of your opportunities sit, between those people that would buy used equipment, would have bought individual low-cost pieces before, and the kind of higher end where they're perhaps looking at the more mainstream suppliers?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of them kind of got in bootstrapping their operation, bought something as inexpensive as possible to self-finance their way in, and now they got production going and things are going, but now they got, I want to do 02 1-inch parts, or even for some of them 0402 is a very small part. Yeah. And they want more capability, better software, and then less maintenance issues. Yeah. Some of the older machines are very maintenance intensive, and you may have a hard time finding service for some of them. Yeah. So and that's typically a lot of our customers. There's the small guy who got into it a few years ago, and now it's really, the business is trending up.
But I guess he needs quite a lot of support as well. Do you end up acting a bit like a consultant for those guys?
You have to really baby those guys. You know. We have installations from Long Island, New York, all the way to San Jose, California. Right. And so support is very important. Everyone wants to make sales. We all want to make sales, right? But it's really after the sale and the long-term relationship that you create with them that you ensure their success. And it's extremely important, and especially in the first 3 to 4 months of having new machinery. Yeah. And no matter how good your training is, there's a lot of questions with software and things like that. And so you really have to hold their hand for that during the process. Yeah,
and in outsourcing terms, we think of those as, I guess, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 4 is, I was told recently, more than 10,000 companies in that tier worldwide. So a lot of opportunity there. Are those guys doing pretty well here in the US? Those kind of, I guess you'd call them
I think so. The big boys, the big manufacturers, and the Motorola's and the Flextronics. That's a very small, honestly, it's a very small percentage of the market. Some of them have 20 lines, right? But you have the big guys going after a very, very small market. We're not going after that market. Yeah. We're not tailored to that. Now, our stencil printer can go in there and compete well, but generally speaking, we're looking at the small to mid. 20 to about 150 employees typically is our typical manufacturer, and that's kind of our sweet spot, and we do really well with them.
Okay, and what about regional variations? What are you seeing across the US? We're here in Texas. There's plenty of EMS going on in this state particularly.
Texas is doing well. I think some of the hottest markets in the country right now, honestly, are California. The West Coast has just been fantastic for us, I think, and for general. And the other one I think that's always surprising to hear about is the old Rust Belt. Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are fantastic markets. Right. You would not believe how much manufacturing is going on there. And the other one I was very surprised with is New England. New England, Long Island, New York, Eastern Pennsylvania has still got a lot of manufacturing as well.
Okay, and the success they're enjoying, is that in any particular end user market, or are they pretty diverse?
No, I think the more diverse the better, honestly. Yeah. Some of the markets that are tied into military government contract work, sequestering and the government shutdown, right? Yeah. No, they're really having a drop off, absolutely. So the ones that are more diverse and more commercial, those are the guys that are really doing extremely well.
Yeah, and you mentioned kind of East Coast to West Coast, right down to San Diego. What about south of there? What about Mexico?
I think Mexico is very. Market. I think everyone needs to be in Mexico. Honestly, I really do. Everyone's familiar with the concept of reshoring, right? And clearly, there's a big move for that. The labor and just the cost of coastal rents in China have really skyrocketed. And when you calculate the loss of control and the import and shipping costs involved, it really has completely been recalculated. Yeah. And so a lot of it is going back into Mexico, and it just makes sense. You know, you have a lower cost of production, lower cost of labor. It's for a lot of people, it's the same time zone, and it's much more easier to go down and boots on the ground, inspect your product in the plant.
Yeah, and is that an area you expect to be developing in?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So you have to build a basically an engineering and technical base to be able to go in there and service it, because it is a very unique. There's a language barrier, and then there's also cultural issues. In some of the areas of traveling, you really need native people down there.
Yeah, you do, to be safe and so forth. And are there plenty of the kind of tier 3, tier 4 size players down there?
Yes,
scale?
you'd be amazed at. I always thought of Mexico as kind of a tier 1 players because of the big boys are reshoring, but no, there's a lot of smaller players down there buying in onesies and twosies. Okay. Just like the Americans were 20-some years ago getting started. Yeah,
that's really cool. And Will, what about new product? What are you expecting to bring to the market?
Well,
from your principles?
I think in terms of the stencil printer, we have the one that's got onboard 3D inspection. I don't know anyone else in the world that's doing it. It's got a Parma camera in there with Moray technology. With true closed-loop control. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's inspecting a full-size PCB in as little as 8 seconds. Right. Load a program in a minute, 20 seconds. So in terms of just cost considerations, floor space, single-user interface, it drops your production costs dramatically, and of course the quality of your work goes up significantly. So I think as people get exposed to that, they certainly will. And then the Moray line that we carry, they are rolling out the new MR series. That will be coming in first quarter of next year, and so that should be very interesting as well.
Okay. What about adding additional lines? Is there anything bubbling under there? Are you looking for anything?
Yes, we are. Korean manufacturing is probably 50 different manufacturers that we could look at to bring in. You know, this Korean manufacturing is from Mirtec to Parmi to Koyoung. They're all Korean, and they all create But finding a product that either has a technical advantage or a significant price advantage is always a challenge. We are in a mature market. There's a lot of great players out there, and I don't really want to bring an X-ray machine into a market that's got 36 other players without a competitive edge.
Yeah, absolutely. But those Koreans certainly do seem to have a handle on the technology and the new developments and getting it to market fast.
I think the Koreans are very, very interesting people and culture. If you look, they're basically trapped between China and Japan, two huge superpowers, right? And so they've had to absolutely adapt on the fly as a culture. They do things completely different. Every guy with this company wears 5 hats. They have a tremendous work ethic, and just everything's new. They always want something new and different. So they really adapt on the fly. In terms of working with them as companies, we find out they're much more open and receptive to feedback. So some of the Japanese have been very structured and rigid, exactly right. So Korea, even though you think of it as an Asian culture,
it's a great trading culture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting, interesting.
Yeah, you know, the culture that's most like that in Europe would be the Dutch. The Dutch, stuck between Germany and France and the UK and those markets, really adaptable, trade well with all those other.
It's a good analogy.
Play well with all those other people.
That's exactly right.
Fantastic. Well, Will, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for giving us the insight.
It's great seeing you again.
Good to see you again.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care. Thank you.